Global economic collapse, the existential threat of nuclear war. Modern history is defined by intersecting crises that seem out of our control. For decades, international diplomats, macroeconomic theorists, and peace scholars have tried to untangle these systems, and they routinely fail to predict or prevent the next disaster. Enter Dr. Derek Cabrera, a self-described Cornell-adjacent academic who claims that every single one of these impossible problems can be solved using a proprietary framework consisting of exactly 4 letters. He calls it DSRP. That stands for Distinctions, Systems, Relationships, and Perspectives. Reading his manifesto, you are forced to ask a specific question. Are we looking at the unified theory of human cognition, or the most elaborate, highly monetized academic grift of the 21st century? To find the answer, we are going to run an audit on Cabrera's Derek doctrine, and we'll do it using his own 4-step DSRP method. Step 1 is the S move. This requires us to map the system by identifying its exact parts and wholes. Look at the scale of the historical events Cabrera claims to have solved. He states he can fix classical economics, restructure the United Nations, and resolve the Cold War. He even insists he could have prevented the 2008 financial crisis and saved Lehman Brothers if the Federal Reserve had just attended his workshop. To understand how a single academic constructed an ego of this magnitude, we have to look closely at the tools he uses to dismantle reality. That brings us to the D move, or distinctions. This is the cognitive act of drawing a boundary to reduce the world into simple binaries, us versus them, or intrinsic value versus a piece of paper. Cabrera argues that the entire history of human economics is nothing but a basic D move. He casually waves away the staggering, tangible complexity of the modern Bitcoin network, with its millions of hardware nodes and global energy consumption, as a simple 4-letter cognitive sorting exercise. He applies this exact same logic to international warfare. In his view, human conflict only exists because people draw bad cognitive boundaries between nations. His proposed solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is literal. He claims he can resolve the crisis by placing representatives from both sides in a room for 45 minutes and having them play with his $49.99 plastic think blocks. This is the danger of extreme reductionism. By insisting historical bloodshed is a cognitive sorting error, the method flattens out actual human suffering. Once you reduce reality to simple parts, you have to connect them. That's the R move, identifying the relationships, actions, and reactions that form systemic feedback loops. Cabrera looks at the Cold War nuclear arms race and sees a positive feedback loop missing negative feedback. A standoff involving proxy wars across 5 continents and the threat of human extinction is, to him, an equation he could have solved on a whiteboard in 90 minutes. Let's map the relationship driving his framework. Every global crisis feeds into his proprietary solution, creating a continuous loop ending in an invoice. Saving the global economy requires a $12,000 fee. Restructuring international treaties requires an $8,400 license. And his ultimate systemic plan for global governance is a redesigned United Nations operating on DSRP councils, completely governed by the only 2 people certified to run them, himself and his wife. While the essay claims to map global peace, the DSRP operations actually define an efficient, recurring revenue stream for its creator. The final step of the audit is the P move, adopting a new perspective. We need to zoom out and examine the closed ecosystem Cabrera has built to validate himself. He created something called the AST registry to rank the field's greatest thinkers. Naturally, he scored his own intellect as Tier 1. Look at the historical figures he places in his own peer group. He starts by equating his intellect with Charles Darwin. He then claims parity with Alan Turing, the pioneer of modern computing. The punchline to this academic ecosystem lies right in the footprint of Cornell University. His groundbreaking papers are published in a journal he personally owns, and they are peer-reviewed by his wife. By constructing a feedback loop that validates his own findings, Cabrera highlights a vulnerability in how we verify academic expertise. At a certain point, Cabrera is operating at a level of post-satire. He is mocking the academic grift while actively profiting from the tools he is selling. He is holding up a mirror to the entire thought leader industry, the TED Talk gurus, the executive coaches, and the corporate consultants who dominate modern discourse. This industry thrives by repackaging common sense into branded matrices and marketing them as universal solutions. Cabrera's final demand is that the Nobel Committee awards him prizes in all 6 categories for his 4-letter framework. It serves as a final warning. Whenever someone claims proprietary framework can solve world peace, the only thing they are actually trying to solve is their own obscurity.